Hi there students, this is Miss Marianne. I'm so happy to make this video because I really miss you and I hope we can see you and we can play together again. As we know, we have a virtual performance coming soon and I choose this piece Fiddles on Fire because it's a easy piece to play and it's really fun and I'm pretty sure we have a wonderful time playing and recording this music. But before playing this piece, I want to share with you some important things that we need to know before start playing. For example, the first one is the key signature of the piece is D major. So we have two sharps in the key signature, F and C. The second thing is the time signature is 4/4. So it's really important because we need to count a lot. It's really important you study with the metronome at home, and the goal for this piece is to set the metronome in 160. Also, it's really important you have your pencil for take note about everything we are going to study in the music. The other thing I want to share with you is I am living in a small apartment, so I cannot play my instrument at all. So I am using today this metal mute, so that what you will hear the sound a little weird. But don't worry, I'm pretty sure that you will sound amazing at home. So, well, let's start practicing and enjoy the music. This is Fiddles on Fire for cello. Before I start playing the music, I want to fix a finger that we have in measure 11 because we are playing we have in the music the G, the last quarter note, the G. We need to play that G with 4 fingers. If you recite the same music that I recite, I have first finger on the G. This is a mistake. This is the only place because we have several G in the music and they are correct. So please mark a 4 finger in that spot. Okay, let's start to playing the music. Remember that I am playing my violin, I am not playing the cello, so the song will be completely different. This video is mostly for let you know how to play the articulations, the dynamics, and the rhythm, and how to get steady with the tempo and all that kind of things. So I'm pretty sure you will study and it will sounding great as always. So let's start with the beginning. So we start forte and we are going to play these 8 notes détaché. And don't see my finger because it's a different fingering, but I know you have 4 fingers for the B. So I'm going to play from the beginning to number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. On measure 3, we have the rest, but also in the top of the measure, we have a breath mark. That means, remember that we need to retake the bow and we need to set the bow again to play the next measure that will be measure number 4. I will play measure 3 and I will set my bow really fast to play number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And on number 4, we have détaché also. So we need to play longer. On number 5, we have 2 articulations here. We have détaché for the first quarter note, and then for the 3 other quarter note, we have staccato. So we need to make a big difference with these 2 articulations. So we have détaché and then staccato for the 3 quarter notes. And this situation happened on number 5, number 6, and number 7. When we play on measure 8, all this measure is détaché. Okay? So we need to make that big difference. And we play. I'm going to play number 8 and number 9, and you will see the difference between the détaché and staccato bow. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to play measure 5 and you will see how the articulation works in all this phrase. 1, 2, 3, 4. When we arrive to measure 12, two important things are happening here. The first one is we have a breath mark again, so that means we need to set the bow really fast to play in the next measure. The other important thing that we have in this measure is we have a repeat bar line. Do you remember when we talk in the orchestra what is a repeat bar line? So if we have a repeat bar line, we need to go to the measure when we have the beginning of the repeat bar line and then play the phrase, and we arrive again with the repeat bar, we move on to the next measure. For example, we have the repeat bar line at number 12. When we finish to play number 12, we come back to number 5. We play the whole phrase, and when we arrive to number 12 again, we move on to number 13. I'm going to play twice. From number 11, the first time I'm going to repeat to number 5, and the second time I'm going to move on to number 13. 11 as a first time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to play 11 as a second time, and I will move on to 13. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have this example of the repeat bar line. I want you to tell me how many repeat bar lines do we have in this piece. For example, the first one is that we already played from number 5 to number 12. This is the first repeat bar line. Now it's your turn to tell me how many repeat bar lines we can find in the whole piece. You have 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. If your answer was 3, you are right. We have 3 repeat bar lines in this piece, and we already have the first one. The second one is from measure 13 to measure 20, and the last one is from measure 21 to measure 36. So remember, we need, every time we have the repeat line, we need to be careful, and we need to remember that we need to repeat the phrase. Okay, I will move on to measure 13. So we still playing the détaché. We play open strings G and D. 1, 2, 3, 4. On measure 14, remember we need to count 4. On measure 15 is the same. We have open A and open D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We have a rest in 16. We have the same rhythm on 17. 18 we have a rest. On 19 we have a half note, open string, and then when we arrive to measure 20, we have a rest with a breath mark, so we need to retake, and then we have those quarter notes. We have a staccato for those quarter notes. I'm going to play 19. I'm going to set my bow really fast to play the quarter notes on 20. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and set. Okay, so we need to set really fast the bow. I'm going to play measure 13 until 20, so we can have a whole idea about the phrase. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. On 20, we have our second repeat bar line. So I am going to play 19 as a first time, and I will go back to 13, and the second time I will move on to 21. This is 19 as a first time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to play 19 as a second time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 21, if we see the whole phrase from 21 to 28, we have the same melody and the same rhythm that we have in measure number 5. So from measure number 5 to measure 12 is exactly the same that the music we have from measure 21 to measure 28. So in this video, I'm going to skip this excerpt and I will move on to 29. On 29, the first things we have is the phrase play second time only. In this opportunity, we are going to omit this phrase and we are going to play twice the same phrase because we have a repeat bar line, right? We have different articulation, so we start playing détaché and then on measure 30 we start playing staccato. So we need to be careful and we need to do the difference between the détaché and staccato. So 29 comes in this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. In 36, if you see the last quarter note that we have in this measure, we have a line below the note, and remember that articulation means tenuto. So we need to play the quarter note longer than we have played in the quarter notes in the piece, but not that longer because remember we need to repeat to 29 and we need to be ready to play 29, and then when we move on to 37 we need to be ready. So now I'm going to play from 35, I'm going to play twice. For make the repetition, I'm going to play 35 and I will go back to 29, and the second time I will play 35 and I will move on to 37. So this is 35 as the first time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest, rest. Now I'm going to play measure 35 as a second time and I will to move on to 37. 1, 2, 3, 4. On 37, we are going to play these open strings, D and G. We are going to play these A notes détaché. And then we have a staccato for the quarter notes. So 38 comes in this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember, we need to play really short the quarter notes. On 39, we start playing détaché, but in the last two A notes, we have a slur. So we need to play legato. In this time, I'm going to play 39 and 40, and you can see the difference between all the articulation that we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to play now from 37 to 43 because I want to be sure that you are going to count 42. Remember, we have a rest. The whole measure is rest, so we need to count 4, and we have a rest the measure before. Okay, so I'm going to play 37 and you will help me to count and playing 43. 1, 2, 3, 4. Press 1, 2, 3, 4. On 44, we start this measure up. Every time we have this symbol in the music, remember we have to play up, and we have a staccato for the quarter notes, and it comes in this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. And yes, on 45 we have a combination of détaché and staccato. So when we have the A notes, we are going to play détaché, and when we have the quarter note, we are going to play staccato. It's kind of the same thing we are playing in the whole music. I'm going to play from 45 until 50. 1, 2, 3, 4. In measure 51, remember we need to count 4 beats. Don't forget that, please. And on measure 52, this measure is really important because If you see the dynamics in the whole piece, we only have one dynamic. We have forte for the whole piece. But in this special measure, we have piano. This is the only time we have piano in this piece. So we need to make a big difference when we are playing the dynamics. You remember how beautiful sound the orchestra when we play all the dynamics? So we need to do that. On measure 53, we come back again to forte. So we need to play a really impressive forte because this is almost the end of the piece. So we are going to play open string, open C and open G. In this time I'm going to play only my G string. We play détaché and beautiful sound. Remember, we need to count 2 beats before play our 8 notes, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. On 54, this is the only place we have this symbol that means accent. So we need to play this accent with more weight in your bow. We need to put more pressure in your index finger and play really fast. 54 comes in this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. And that is all.